afternoon. Hi, Brian.
Hey, Christy.
How's it going today?
It's going good. The volcano had a little bit of an explosion yesterday, but we're all good here. It literally just spewed ash for a little bit, but it just smells like sulfur outside. No other issues.
Okay, so tell me a little bit more about that. Are you all staying inside? Is that normal? Kind of walk us through that a little bit, because to me, someone who doesn't live near a volcano, that sounds like terrifying. So,
It looks more terrifying than it actually is. So what happened is we live near the base of an active volcano here in Nicaragua, and it happens honestly about once a year, maybe not once a year, but once every 2 years, that the volcano will spew ash. And it's not lava or anything, but it kind of just smokes, and it kind of rains down a little bit of volcanic dust. And so really it was nothing more than just a dusting of black sand on the cars and whatnot, but it does smell like sulfur. So
all right.
That's been the most exciting news for us.
Well, yeah, something different. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Well, I want you to tell us about yourself, kind of, give us a little bit of background.
Sure. So my name's Brian, and yeah, so I've been working at Amigos for Christ for a little over 3 years now. I got my degree in environmental science, and so after I graduated, I was working in a lab, and I love doing lab work, and I was just looking for a little bit more meaning and purpose in my kind of daily activities. And so I was kind of exploring different possibilities and how I could use my degree. And I honestly don't even know how it happened, but I discovered a organization called Amigos for Christ that is based here in Nicaragua, and they do clean water and sanitation projects for people living in rural communities. And so here where we live in the department of Chinandega, which is the northern, you could think of it as the northern state of Nicaragua. About 45% of communities don't have a potable water system. And so Amigos they've spent about 20 years in Nicaragua, and that's basically what they've dedicated their work to, is building water systems. So a deep well that's not just surface water, but deep groundwater that's clean, and then a water tank for the community. And then they build the tubing and all the tubes and pipes and faucets and everything that a family would need. But what makes Amigos, I think, a little bit different than maybe some other organizations is it's just the community super involved in every step of the way. When I say Amigos builds it, it's really the community that's kind of taking charge of it, and Amigos kind of like holding their hand along the way. But that's pretty much it. The day-to-day could be anything like doing water samples, making sure the well is clean, or it might be like digging a ditch right alongside a Nicaraguan. And so that's something I really loved about it, is just being able to work both with people in the communities and do something a little bit different every day.
Yeah, that's so neat. And to wrap my head around 45%, that's a huge number. I mean, just being in Texas and going through this snowpocalypse and not having electricity, but still having water, being so ever grateful that we at least had water in our house. But there's people where we live who are on wells, and the pump didn't work because they didn't have electricity. And so it just brings a whole new meaning to that. Seems like a huge number, and that's big work. No wonder they've been there for so long doing this, because it takes a lot of effort and time, especially to, I'm still floored at that number. Wow.
Yeah. So the goal for Amigos, it's kind of an ambitious goal, but Amigos, they've kind of made it their mission to get every community in Chinandega clean water. And so that's kind of like I said, it's a big goal. There's about 300 communities in Chinandega, and so 50% of that'd be 150, and so trying to get water in roughly 150 more communities is a lot of work. But no, yeah, you're absolutely right. It's definitely it's a big number, but got to start somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I love it. I'm all about goals. I completely get it. Yeah.
Totally.
It's how else are you going to figure out, what steps you want to take, and sometimes your goals get derailed, and that's okay. You got to pivot, and that's, so I get it.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Well,
that's kind
go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, yeah, that's really when we learn, kind of, that's when we actually learn, is when, we make mistakes and things fall apart. It's not when things go right for us.
Yeah, yes, that coaching definitely helps with that resilience factor for sure.
Yep.
Well, I love that you brought that up too, about how you work in the community, and that was actually one of the questions that I did want to ask. Like, what ways do you see the greatest impact to the families and the communities that you do serve?
Oh, wow, that's such a good question. Well, obviously, there's the kind of visual impact of clean water, and the tangible impact, I should say, of having clean water in your house. A lot of families before having clean water would be drinking from it's basically just a shallow surface well, and it's easily contaminated by latrines and by nearby sugarcane fields. And so really a lot of families had gotten used to just drinking really pretty nasty water. And so, yeah, one of the biggest changes, I think, is just the increase in quality of life. So, instead of being sick all the time and having stomach issues, families are kind of able to, go about a more normal life in terms of, work and chores and things like that. And so that's pretty awesome. But I think the other one too is just the spiritual impact, for sure. So one thing that Amigos has done is we've had a lot of church groups come down to Nicaragua to work for a week, 2 weeks maybe, on the water systems. And so, for a rural Nicaraguan, the first time they see it, it's like, why is you know, someone living in the United States going to spend 2 weeks to come down and dig in a trench, in the middle of the sun and sweat and bleed, right? And so, the people who come down here they just, they want to serve. It's the Jesus's model of serving others. And so, I would say the other biggest change is kind of a lot of the rural Nicaraguans being exposed to this model of serving others. And I think I should say in this way, certainly there's very much a service oriented mindset among Nicaraguans already, but we've had other communities that have clean water built by Amigos. They've experienced what it's like to have people help them build a water system. And so they've actually gone out and volunteered to help build water with other communities. And so that's pretty special.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I love
So
that, because they see the value in it, and they want to go and continue that. That's really
exactly.
powerful too, because it's one thing for you to go down there and to do something for someone, and they may or may not see the same value that you do in it, but for them to actually understand wholly and also match, the vision of the value and continue, that just, it's the domino effect, right? That's so beautiful.
Absolutely. No, it's exactly right. It's just a domino effect. And so it's been really cool to see that.
Yeah. Oh, great. Okay. So, you know what I'm going to ask you now because this is what's on your blog and you're really, really amazing at it. So, you're such a great storyteller. And I would love for you to share one or two stories that have really left a lasting impression on you.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Let's see. I got to think of a good story I can tell. I have a good story. I didn't tell it on my blog, but I think it'll be a good one.
Oh, well, see, then that's even better. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So this was actually this was over, I guess, the December break. So I spent December here in Nicaragua, and a big tradition among the people who are Catholic in Nicaragua, which is a big percentage of people, is that they have devotions to the Virgin Mary in December. And so what happens is the families in a given community, for example, they'll set up a little altar with the Virgin Mary, and they'll sing songs, and usually what happens is they'll shoot off fireworks to send their prayers up to heaven. And
Oh,
then
I've never heard that. That's really neat.
it is. It definitely surprised me the first time I heard it, but without fail, any of these little Marian devotions that you attend, you can be guaranteed there will be a lot of fireworks shot off. So I'm sure Mary hears a lot of their prayers. But another characteristic of these, it's called the Gritaria, which is like the shouting. And so what happens is the little kids in the community, they'll go to the little altar and they'll shout, "Quien causa tanta alegría? La Virgen María, la Concepción de la María," which is, who causes so much happiness? It's the conception of Mary. And so what happens is the families at each house near their altar, they'll start giving out candy to kids. So it's, you can almost think of it as like the Nicaraguan version of Halloween, with a more religious overtone to it.
Uh-huh.
And but you can always expect tons of food at these altars. Tons and tons of food, and people are giving away food. There's just, I mean, more food than you even want to think about is being distributed, which is awesome. It's a beautiful thing. But I went to a community, and during the Gritaria, and the singing hadn't started at altar yet, so it was very quiet. It was maybe 30 or 40 people there, all sitting in chairs, kind of sitting before the Virgin, waiting for it to start. And stumbles in a drunk guy from the community. And he's kind of walking from chair to chair, pretty calm for the most part, but just kind of introducing himself. And he takes a front seat at in front of the altar. And he starts singing. And it's about as awful as you can imagine singing. And I think a lot of us who were sitting there were kind of just waiting to see what was gonna to happen. The family that was hosting the altar was right there, and I think everyone was kind of watching to see if they were gonna try and kick this drunk guy out, or what exactly was gonna happen. And for me personally, I was like, oh no, this guy's gonna ruin the whole thing. But the mother and the father of the house, they come out with a cake and some rice pudding, and they offer it to the guy before offering food to anyone else. And they let him keep singing, and they start they're singing as normal. So the rest of the people kind of start the procession as normal, and the guy just kind of sits there. He stops singing. He's eating his rice pudding, and the thing goes as beautifully and as smoothly as you could possibly imagine. And when it's over, the guy just kind of again says goodbye to everyone and leaves. And I think for me, that was just a cool story because it was a cool experience, a cool thing to see, because for me personally, I think if I was in the shoes of the people who were, had set up the altar and were preparing everything, I'd be super frustrated and I'd probably want to kick the drunk guy out,
Yeah.
but just to watch them kind of offer him food, let him continue sing with him. It kind of just was like a reminder to me of like, there's just a lot of uncomfortable things in our life that, that are just things that we would never want to happen, and things that we kind of just want to fix all at once. And just watching them just kind of invite that guy in and, kind of let him do his thing, but not take over. It's kind of just reminded me of the times that, I guess, yeah, there's just a lot of uncomfortable things in life. And sometimes we just have to let them sit there, but not let them take over. And so, yeah, that was a pretty cool experience for me.
I can imagine. Wow. I'm with you. I probably would be the frustrated, upset one, but how they showed, the Christian belief of compassion of others, and they recognized, just like you said, that there was other things going on that they maybe didn't know about, but they were still open to him being there and being a part of what he needed in that moment. That's really, really amazing.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh.
So it's hard to show love to people like that, but it was a reminder that we have to sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yay. See, I'm so glad I asked, because that is really, really wonderful story. Thank you.
Of course.
Well, it also makes me think of there's something that I feel that is really passionate for me time for mom, and I see so much strength in is kind of noticing the different cultures and what country has different strengths, or just how people celebrate things, and also kind of giving the world the knowledge of those things. I guess that's another way to put it. So, like, is there anything, like, that was a wonderful story. Is there anything that was like a small, like, noticeable thing that was a cultural difference that you kind of thought, oh, this is an observation, this is something that I wouldn't have thought, or I didn't know, or along those lines? Does that question make sense?
Totally. That's a great question. Well, I think are you referring to this particular story or just kind of
No,
Nicaraguan in
in
general?
general, like, there's certain gestures in different countries that are off limits,
Oh,
or, things like that. Like,
totally.
I guess that was maybe where I was going. Like, if you said a word a certain way, or, like, it's not polite to do something, or it's very polite to do something, sort of along those lines, I guess.
Yeah. That actually, absolutely. So the first thing that comes to my mind is kind of the way that people greet here and enter rooms. And so here in my office at Amigos, everyone in the morning, the first thing they do when they swing open the door is they say "Buenos dias," and they say "Buenos dias" to everyone. Literally, you look someone in the eye, you say "Buenos dias," which is good morning. And so literally, you greet everyone good morning every day in the eye, and it's almost disrespectful if you don't do it. Obviously, if you're in a big setting, you can't do it to everyone. But I've got 80 people in my office, and get around to greeting just about everyone every day with buenos dias. And so I think that's pretty cool. Just acknowledging people, just giving them the time of day is pretty cool. And yeah, same thing. When people go home, it's buena tarde, buena noche, good afternoon, good evening. Just looking people in the eye and saying a simple, have a good evening is something super simple, but a pretty big change. Because I know when I was working in the States, I'd just jet out of my office as fast as possible without saying anything.
Yeah. So. Wow, that's great. It's saying, I see you. I hope that you have a good day. It's radiating that positivity to others. And same thing, when they leave. I see you. I hope you have a great, rest of the day. Like that's wonderful. I love
Totally.
that.
Yeah, and
I think we should do that here too.
No, I
It
agree.
sounds like
I
that would
agree.
spread positivity. So I like that.
Yeah, I definitely want to try and incorporate that one into the U.S. culture.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I want everybody to be able to see what Amigos are doing, your website, and just kind of stay connected socially, because I know that that's something that people can connect socially. So is there any info that you can give to connect socially?
yes, so Amigos for Christ, they have a Facebook page and they're very active on that. So I think you can look up Amigos for Christ in Facebook, and they have a web page there. There's also yeah, I think that's the biggest way. There's a website too. So we've got all of our projects, just a little bit more about Amigos, and it's just Amigos for Christ. Let me check if it's .com or .org. It used to be .org, but I believe that it changed that. But yeah, like I said, we have a website, and Facebook would be the two easiest ways to kind of find out a little bit more about what we're doing. Yeah, so it is .org, amigosforchrist.org.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yay, that's perfect. And then I'll also put in the link to your blog. And then if people find it in their heart to donate and also spread the love, I'm going to put the donation link down there too for you.
Oh,
I know
awesome.
You didn't say those, but I'm putting those in there. So.
Well, thank you, Christy.
Yeah. Well, it was so nice to chat with you today. Thanks for sharing your time.
Yeah, it's so great to chat with you too. Thanks for all that you do. And yeah, I just, I don't know, all those moms out there, just, you guys are right there in the trenches along with me. The dirty diapers and the dirty clothes, and being a mom is just as hard as, if not harder than, a lot of stuff we do. So keep up the good work.
It's just a different trench, right?
That's right. That's right.
Well, have a great day.
All right, you too. Take care, Christy.